on time, by the way.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Buckley, there's quorum present.
Okay, thank you. And as you wish, please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk?
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the gifts that you bestow on us. Today we come to you with heavy hearts. We remember our employee, Jason Stam. We ask that you hold his family in your loving care and that you take him to be with you. We also ask today for our friend Tim Meadows, whose son tragically died this week at 40 years old. We ask that you do the same. Hold the family and him in your hands. We ask guidance and direction. We ask wisdom to make decisions for this county today and all that we do. We ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I knew that Tim's son was short, but I didn't know that he had died. So,
Yeah, he unfortunately had a all three, either aneurysm or a stroke or something, and just unfortunate. But it was people might be interested to know he was an organ donor, and so they harvested his organs upon the decision to let him go, and they are being transplanted as we speak.
okay, thank you. Okay, consent agendas as is on the board. And on Bridget, on the, we've got several things here to be destructed and disposed. How do we know that those items are being taken off the list, or that they're even in evidence? My voice is shot today, so
They should have sent them to Amber, so she should have
so
them.
how do we know that that's been done?
It's
As far as,
based on what they submit to us.
okay, so, but my point is, when I put that on consent agenda, I don't have any of that paperwork.
You should, because they turn it into the clerk's office.
I don't get it. I don't have it.
Then you might refer that question to the clerk's office.
Okay. So can you check and make sure that we have that? It's just for the future thing.
He sends you a.
Yeah,
We
whatever we
always
have.
assume that when they take it off their inventory because of obsolescence or something's broke or whatever, that
Okay.
we keep that list, but we can send that over to you if you'd like.
I know that number 2, the old jail boiler, was taken out because that's when we found the asbestos and ran into an extra bill for that.
Those 3 items shared the
Okay, I didn't hear you, Linda.
the 3 items for the jail, he just came in the office and asked me to put them on. I don't have any paperwork.
Okay, there's 4 items for the jail.
Well,
Okay.
Nor that we think that he could be running a secondary operation on Milner laundry equipment, but we're assuming he's not. So we think he really did destroy it.
Okay.
And there he is, speaking of the devil.
Oh.
Maybe it's dirty laundry he doesn't want to talk about.
Maybe he's got Marie doing a laundry service.
I was taking care of Parks' business at the home. I knew you
Okay.
needed him in here.
Well, do I have a motion to accept the consent
I'm
agenda?
gonna make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
And I'll second that. Any comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Now,
And you
again,
voted aye too on that.
Did you aye? Are you an aye?
yes,
We
I
have
thought
to
I
have
did.
your eye
He was
today.
I thought,
His
I always
voice is
do.
working right, he's a silent.
You know, Mark never wanted me to
Yeah,
vote.
we can't put that down in minutes that you always do.
I always vote. Okay. And again, we are sorry for Jason, but he was in a lot of pain. Might be a miracle. So, anyway. Okay, Jason, this is business part of the meeting. Engagement letter with Daniel Jones and Associates. Is it 21-8? Is that the same as last year, or do you remember?
It's the same as last year, the previous year, the previous year, the previous year, the previous year, and the previous year.
Okay. Okay. So that answers the first question, and is it budgeted?
Certainly hope so.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we, engagement letter with, approve the engagement letter with Daniel Jones and Associates for the auditor, to $21,800.
And it's for 1 year. Okay, and I second that. Any questions, comments? Bob?
Is that a competitive bid situation?
It's bid every 3 years, and this will be the final year. It'll be up for bid next year. We initiated the bid 6 years ago. Prior to that, we felt like that it needed to be bid and resourced out. And 6 years ago, we received, I believe, it was 9 different bids from across the state who were interested in our business. We interviewed 3 and was referred to Daniel Jones and Associates, who is a forensic auditor and is or has completed the forensic audit on the Washington County collector. And so it'll be bid again next year.
You don't bid those out correctly as often because you've got to have some continuity of.
Exactly.
It's real expensive to go up with a new auditor every year because they've got to do all the due diligence to get into your business. So you want some length of time in a contract like that.
If you only bid it a year at a time, the bid goes way up because it takes longer to start the process all over again.
Their discovery is forever.
Yeah.
It takes so much time.
We've saved approximately, if memory serves correct, we've saved the county from the previous bids of 6 and 7 years ago, I think about $90,000 to $100,000
Over that time.
over that period.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, life cycle, Jay, and this is the part of the Fiddler contract.
Yes, this is a continuation of our contract that we've had with Fiddler all along. This is our software program that runs all our programs that allow our searchers to do their background checks on all the deeds to make sure that they are clear title to your land. So that runs our Laredo program, our Tapestry program, and a number of others that this includes. So this is, it shows there it's about a 3% increase each year. That's the same thing. It's about $1,000 or $1,100 a year it goes up. And
It's
this
not
is,
about, I checked it, it is 3%.
it is 3%, yes.
0.000 something, yeah.
Right. And so we're just looking for, to get this contract signed and continue on our program. Yeah.
Now, if they can do a past title search and make sure that that property is in not a lien or something way back when, or a hidden grandchild or something like that, does that mean that your department can do a records check for the public?
We cannot do it for, they have to do it themselves.
Why, since you can't do
The
it?
statute says that we cannot,
There's a
we're not
statute.
lawyers, we're not, we can't do that. We're stopped at that point. That's where the abstractors come in, and they're the ones that legally do the search. And
That
the
other
ones that
lawyer's
are-
cost.
Yeah, they're the ones that bear the burden if something is wrong.
Yeah.
We look and find something, don't catch something, county's at it, trouble that.
But we can do
We
it for our
appreciate
own
that
purpose.
statute for the counties.
So we can do it for our own purpose.
Yeah, we can show
That's
you,
okay.
but you're accepting that
Okay,
responsibility, liability.
all right. Okay, on the motion, do we need to give each yearly account or the total account for the 3 years?
It's all 3 years, and
Three-year
been
total?
budgeted for, and,
It's a 3-year contract.
3-year contract, they just bill us every year, so.
Okay.
The bill comes up one time a
So
year.
113.8 and the bid, or motion would be sufficient in your mind?
Right.
Okay,
Louis, that work for your office?
okay, motion.
I make a motion, we enter the software contract with Lifecycle Software through the Fiddler for the Recorder of Deeds, 3-year total of $113,817.
Okay, I'll second that. Do we have any questions? All in favor of approving this 3-year contract, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, request permission to apply for K-9 replacement. Come on up, Mike. That's a file photo, and I was gonna ask if the
No.
dog knows it's going to be replaced. But apparently we've got 4 dogs with this one.
Yeah, the fourth is not in addition for this. We received grant for that fourth dog. Already the grant that, we had,
Mark Towing. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it was the USPCA, United States, Police Canine Association. We got a grant through that, which paid for that dog.
Did somebody sit down with the officer and let him know he's being replaced?
The officer is not being replaced. So this,
I didn't say that clearly, did I?
this replacement grant is because of Amendment 3, legalization of marijuana in the state of Missouri. Our prosecutor, along with other prosecutors in the state, when you have a multi-purpose dog and a dog that's imprinted on marijuana, they're not accepting the cases that those dogs, when they indicate on narcotics. So this grant allows us to replace.
Does that affect probable cause? If the dog's not trained properly for that?
Yes, so if, we only have one dog, and that's Teo, that's imprinted on marijuana.
Yeah.
So if Teo alerts on our car, they won't take that case.
And he
solely
alerts.
Because he's imprinted on marijuana.
So you can't get probable cause on him, because at that point you don't know what it is.
Correct.
Okay.
So what this grant does is this allows us to replace any funding that we utilize to add an additional dog, to replace Teo, which would be Canine Gus, and that's with Shirkus, and we had that prior to the other grant for Iron.
So where's Teo going to?
Teo is currently going to be a single-purpose dog. It won't be a multi-purpose dog for tracking and stuff of that nature. And we actually utilize our dogs for, suspect tracking or missing persons tracking, which Teo did recently. And obviously articles. We actually, our canines, people lose their keys and our dogs come out and they're like, oh, there they are. So they're trained on article location, and stuff like that, or tracking. Gus was, so any funding that we had in the canine fundraising group through Marlers and stuff like that, we cannot replace that because it's not county spent money.
That's Marler's Towing. We got 2 or 3 Marler's businesses.
Oh, towing, yes, sorry.
Marler's Towing.
Yeah. But there is funds that we did utilize through the county in reference to, equipment for Gus, travel and food expenses to going to training, and equipment, to have installed in the vehicle. County had expenses in that.
Heating and cooling.
Well, the installation of that equipment, that equipment, was purchased without county money. And organizations, such as like Dogs on Duty and stuff like that, we were able to outsource some of that equipment and they donate that to the Sheriff's Department, to have put in the vehicles. But we did have the expense of the installation, the equipment for the dog. There's a lot of equipment that it's.
That heating and cooling sounds silly, but if you think about it, you sure don't want to leave a child in a hot car.
No, it's a hot and pop system, basically is what it's called. The hot part is reference to a thermostat that's in the vehicle. When the vehicle gets too hot, the windows automatically roll down, the lights and siren activate on the patrol car, and there's actually a fan that's wired in there as well to keep the dog cool. The pop part is the acquisition on the door. The canine handler has a remote on his belt. If he needs the dog to be able to deploy, he can hit it, the door automatically opens on the vehicle, and the dog's deployed. This grant there's no max on it, and it's a non-matching grant, so, I know Bridget sent it to me, and we were going over, money that the county had spent, already that we can get reimbursed on this, and we have all the invoices for it and stuff like that. I don't have a total dollar amount yet, but it'll be several $1,000s that we could potentially receive back with this reimbursement grant.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay.
You said 100% grant, so we won't have to worry about it.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then Sergeant Harris was here in reference to this, because also in this grant, it's a DPS through Department of Public Safety, and it made mention in there in reference to like assisting with MANTAF, Military Drug Task Force, and our dogs are utilized on a regular basis to assist in ANTAP, search warrants, vehicle stops, obviously drug identification.
So we only have one dog now that's not infringed to marijuana.
That is correct.
Okay. I haven't gotten a motion on this yet. Okay, motion?
I'm really worried about somebody sitting there talking, we're not replacing dogs, so that's good too. I'm glad we're not losing a canine or dog.
Motion?
Sorry. You want me to do this now?
Yeah.
Sorry. I give permission to request for the permission to apply for the canine replacement grant.
Okay, I'll second that. Question?
I just, one quick, this is, when did the dog has left service already, or we're planning on?
Okay, my question was, the grant can only spend on this one last dog, right? The money
Right.
from the grant.
Yeah, the money that's allocated is gonna go to the one canine.
The last one.
The one prior to that.
Oh.
That one we applied for a grant to get him. So Gus was getting purchased and put into service because the Amendment 3, and we couldn't utilize Teo for the drug, not identification.
So we
but
decommissioned one of them? Or
No.
are they,
just currently right now, just for, or, what's the word I'm looking for? Location, or an indication of narcotics in a home or a vehicle or something like that.
will that dog be taken out of service at some point?
No, we're still utilizing it for tracking.
All right,
Transfer.
okay.
Right.
All right, and cause I didn't know if we have to reflect that some way, when.
They are gonna have to write a letter and explain it to the grant because it's replacing that one canine, so it's replacing Teo. So they're gonna have to explain.
Explain that part that
That he's not going to be-
decommissioned or whatever that is the.
Correct.
Okay,
Not
Yeah.
utilized.
as long as we do the proper, yeah.
Yeah.
Not utilized for the, drug and narcotic
That-
aspect
that
of
purpose.
it.
And what does the dog cost?
Well, the dog itself and training is around the area of like 12,500 for training and the dog. Now, when you add in the equipment in the vehicle and the equipment for the dog itself, I mean, like a kennel for the car is in there in the area of like 7,000. The house like another 1,500.
The question 20,000.
Yeah, very.
Chihuahuas are a little bit cheap.
Chihuahuas are cheaper.
And they can look up on the bottom of the cart. All right, strike that. But with grants and donations, we don't have to buy the dog.
No, all of that's done.
Yeah.
And that was through.
It's not a county expense.
No, we utilized Dogs on Duty, we utilized, the USPCA, grant and all that stuff, and fundraisers.
And I think this towing company has specified that the reason they want to donate is because they see the dog so often.
Our dogs are utilized daily,
Yeah,
absolutely,
so they know the importance of it.
yeah. And they're utilized for other counties, schools, municipalities, they call us all the time for our canines.
Okay. Okay, have a motion second. Any questions? Yeah, Bob.
Recently, we're hearing a lot about fentanyl and the dangers of just the odor of it. I know we've had some border guards that have been hospitalized just by being around it, I guess. How much of a danger is that to the dogs?
Fentanyl, for,
Yeah.
Fentanyl, yeah.
It's just as dangerous for dogs as it is for humans.
yeah.
So if they have loose fentanyl in their vehicle and the dog smells it, the dog nose is 10,000 times stronger than humans. So it's going to be just as dangerous. However, we've outfitted all of our canines with Narcan. So they have something to counteract the effects
So
of
you
that
have to,
drug.
you have to Narcan a dog just like you would a person.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, John. Wow, stuff must be stout. Okay, any other
The
questions?
reason this is important is we have a deadline to meet, don't we?
Yes, the grant, opened March 1st, and I think Bridget sent it to me on the 2nd. So that's why we tried to get it on the agenda for today, and then it has to be submitted by the 14th.
Okay,
It opened really quickly, and it has a small window.
Dan?
There's several other miscellaneous costs that cost the sheriff's department throughout the year, but this is a big kick for us from the private donations and grants we wouldn't be able to do this if it hadn't been for that, so we appreciate that. Because also sometime this spring, maybe, like to show you what our dogs can do, because they're amazing, and it's something you'd be surprised at what we have right here in St. Francis County.
You're just not inviting me to wear that suit, are you?
Yeah,
I figured that's what it was.
Dave, wear the red man suit.
We voting on that too?
No. But I bet you'll all be there to watch it, wouldn't you?
How about we give him
Louis
a necklace so the
seconded
dog can latch on to
We
it?
always look people to wear on that suit.
Hey, that might be a good fundraiser.
I gotta hurt myself. See, I wanted to.
Probably raise more money without the suit though.
Like, right.
About 4 or 5 more dogs on that. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we have a request for court orders for the trustee sale. And this is 3.5 pages of a list, long list. A lot of lakeside developments in it and all that. I think all the information's out there. Pam or Angie, you want to say anything?
No, it just needs to be.
Okay, it's a long list. I have it up here if somebody wants to review it. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the court orders for trustee sale for the collector's
I
office.
second that. What about the sale date? Have you determined that?
Always the fourth Monday of August. So that would
Fourth
be
Monday in August.
always the fourth Monday of August.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. And now we have another similar item. It's just to remove 2017 personal property taxes from the books. And that's 15 items totaling 71,000 plus. Motion?
Okay, make a motion that we accept the blanket court order to remove the 2017 personal property taxes from the books for the collectors for 15 items totaling $71,529.38.
Any other, and I second that. Any questions? Yeah, Rich.
What does that mean?
Angie?
Blanket court order to remove 2017 personal property taxes, and they're 15, what does that mean?
It's because when they are 6 years, they have to be rolled off the books.
So what are the 15 items?
Here they are.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I have a list here if you want to come up and review
I will
that.
later.
Yeah.
That's
It's
an
on-
awful lot of
I don't
money
have
just to
that
pull
list
stuff
that-
off the books.
Yeah.
I would assume
It's
some of
every
it
year,
is
those years every year.
penalties and things that were built up over those 6-year period of time that they are not recoverable. But there was penalties, and I bet that at some point the penalties became bigger than
It is state statute, you have no
Yes.
other alternative but to act.
take them off. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bad debt is we call it.
And Linda has that list. I don't have that individual list with the amounts. Yeah, I do have part of it. Okay. So any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Purchase of a cell phone. Nick and John, I think, want to talk about this. And Dave.
I'll let you kick it off, too.
You go right ahead. You started off in this part. Sounds good.
So as of right now, we purchased John's cell phone. It's under the county's plan, and we are looking to remove his.
Let me state it, the phone's acting up.
Yeah, the phone is acting up. It's not receiving phone calls, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's just it's an older cell phone. So what we were wanting to do is remove him from the cell phone plan that we have in the county. He's going to go off and get his own under the FirstNet. As of right now, he should have been on FirstNet to begin with. It gives him priority on cell phone. If there's a natural disaster, he gets priority on the cell phone towers. But we can't pick and choose who goes on FirstNet. If it's on a county policy, it's all or none. So he's going to go off on his own, get his own policy or his own plan under the FirstNet, and he's looking for reimbursement on the plan purchase of the. He will pay for the cell phone, but he's looking for reimbursement on the purchase of the plan under FirstNet.
And again, the reason he needs to go to personally on phone is because of that FirstNet.
Yeah, it gives him priority over the cell phone network.
Okay, because the FirstNet is the reason he needs to do that.
Yes.
And I would remind the commissioners that about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, we set up a policy that we've eliminated the majority of the phones, I know the county clerk had 2, probably, and
We
they
had
had them
7.
all over and around, but we're currently,
That you can find.
you have tasked Human Resources redoing the personnel manual on the policies, so I don't have any problem with it at all. It makes sense because they need this for emergency, but whatever we do on phones while you're in the process of developing, you're setting precedent or whatever, so just long as you defined it saying it's because of this reason or whatever, because then when the personnel manual comes out, we don't want to be changing something we just did 2 months earlier or whatever.
Gotcha, and that's why we're gonna do this one on this phone, and it's not gonna be an everybody come to us and say, hey, we want this and that.
Yeah, we don't need to go back
If
up,
you guys
county paying for
realize
phones.
what John and Clay do on their phones, it's 95% of their job, they,
And
that took a whole lot.
another point, they have radios, but the radios don't work in so many places.
Correct.
And so the phone is the critical part of the leadership.
Another thing about between radio and phone is, if it's not everybody needs to know about it, phone call, and it's just you and the person on the radio, anybody can pick up that frequency and listen to it, depending on what it is.
Okay. Good, do I have a motion on this yet?
Ready to make a motion for the county to reimburse John Gross the monthly FirstNet plan up to not to exceed the $80. And once we figure out what the base will be, that we'll find that out. They got to go through a process to get this phone first of all.
You guess it'll be a lot less than the $80.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that much. I personally, from what I've heard from past experience, it's like $45, $50 to move to FirstNet, but I think with the $80, it gives them a little bit of, we're only gonna pay for the FirstNet service for them. So I don't look for it to be more than, $40, $50, but $80 gives us a little, just a.
But if the county did that, it'd be a lot of dollars.
Oh, absolutely. We actually looked at it and it was more expensive to move everybody, all the phone lines we had to FirstNet.
Okay. Okay, and I'll second that. Any questions? Bob?
I understood that Commissioner Cater's motion was just for John, but it appears up here that he's also under this plan. Is it, am I misreading that?
Yeah, he's presenting it, Commissioner Cater.
Oh yeah, not my phone. No, I'm just.
Oh, no, Bob, David is.
I'm sorry, okay, I misinterpreted.
No, I take care of that.
No, okay, I see the way, I didn't read that. Okay, now it's just,
And I am
David was
not the
gonna talk
highway
about it.
administrator. I want you to know that.
yeah, and Clay's not mentioned on that either. This
He's
time.
not because
No,
now we,
this was a, issue that was propagated due to the fact that John's phone was no longer functioning correctly. Mine still is, it's really not an issue with me at this point, because
Okay.
my phone's working.
So you haven't chopped any tires with your phone or anything like that?
No, so,
Not saying that John has. Okay.
no,
Okay.
but as long as mine's working efficiently, and it is, I'm just gonna let it run.
Okay. Bridget?
Okay. No, I was just wondering, is it gonna be like reimbursed on like payroll? Is that how it's gonna be paid? Is it non-taxable?
It would be just like the stipend that everybody else
Okay,
gets.
so it'd be just like that,
Yeah,
okay.
just a
Is
stipend.
that pre-tax or post-tax?
It would be post-tax.
Okay,
It's-
thank
It's
you.
not, and it's not taxable.
Okay. Dan?
Just for your information, my FirstNet owns $40 a month, so probably a couple decent.
Yeah, it's roughly theirs.
Okay, that's what he was guessing, somewhere down there. Okay, any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Sit down, Nick, we've heard enough of you. Okay, next meeting is next week, this time. Any correspondence? Public comments? Yes, Rich?
I know that your voice isn't quite strong this morning, but I do certainly appreciate your use of the microphone.
Thank you, I'm trying.
I think while not everybody may say it, that's about the only way I can hear you drabbling on the way you drabble on. So thank you again for your.
I have not broken into a long-winded story, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna
Not
have.
yet.
I got a small story here, and you were going correspondence. We were actually, I guess, blessed to be able to make the training that we have to take. It's mandatory training that we take yearly with the CCAM, County Commissioners Association of Missouri, and a lot of these issues that you guys get to see and brought up here in the meetings, there's a lot of these across the county, and I know when you guys go to your clerks and the auditors and whatever else, you meet people, the deeds, and you meet people that have the same problems you had, and we actually, to network with those communities, we've learned a lot. There's a lot of legislation that's coming down that we're not happy with, and I know you guys will not be happy with, but in order to run business here in the county, it's going to get a little, how can I say, eventful maybe. It's going to be very, we're going to have to spend some time on some things that we're going to, hopefully they don't pass. So I just want you guys to know that. We were up there.
Talking about the tax on the
Oh,
food.
just anything. I mean,
That cost us $5 million a year.
yeah, if
Is that
just some legislation that's out
Almost
there
6
every
million.
year. I like hearing about what legislation's out there that I'm like, how would they do that? How can you do that? So, yeah, not taxing food in this situation. It cost us $5.4 million over the year. So anyway, I just want to thank these two. I know Carrie away, but thank these two for that commission meeting.
There are lots of blessings, but I've never heard that. When you blessed to go to those meetings.
No, but it is. It is. It's eye-opening.
I sent letters.
Right now, the state has so much freaking money that they think it's great to cut everything.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't care that it's cutting the local governments.
No.
It's just the fact that they've got $50-something billion to balance the budget this year.
Well, it sounds good politically.
And it's, well, let's cut personal property tax, let's cut
Yeah.
sales tax on food, let's cut, that's fine if they wanna cut theirs, their portion. It's when they come down and the local, and they're gonna be cutting roads and cutting everything else because they're cutting off all the.
Every
revenue.
county will suffer
Yes.
over that.
So hopefully that won't,
Is there some method that we can use to cut them?
I sent Elaine,
Elections.
Election.
election, they cut
I
their-
sent Elaine Gannon a strongly worded email this morning about that very topic. So,
Thank you. But you have local organizations that are touting these things like they're
yeah,
that and
it's a good political step.
let's,
Soundtrack.
I just wanted to bring up, thank you guys for going up there and.
Rich, let me tell you a story about Sandy.
I'm sorry I opened the door.
There you go. One time I was in a group of friends and I started into one of my stories and Sandy was standing there. I said, I'm sorry, Sandy, you've heard this one. And she said, go ahead, dear. Every time I hear your stories, they get better. Anyway.
Teach my wife that, please.
Right, okay. Any other public comments? Carol?
Your discussion going sort of circular around legislative issues. I wonder if in the course of your weekly meetings during the legislative season, that you might give a legislative update, not for discussion, just say, this is in there, this is a potential impact on us, and let people hear. I was unaware of some of this, and I'm kind of a political junkie, and I know I'm in other organizations.
what about this?
But they give legislative updates.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Matt gives legislative updates.
Yeah, I can forward the David Owen thing.
I was gonna, or forward it and put it on the website, so that the people can be aware of potential,
Yeah.
and that would be the easiest, you wouldn't have to regurgitate it, you just, this is what.
So in other words, we hand this over to Nick.
I mean, that, if you follow our website, then you can keep aware,
Can you
because
take care of handing that over
several
to
of
Nick?
us are running up to Jeff City to lobby against things that they're talking about. For example, one of ours, they're wanting to go back to hand counting ballots. Well, there's a reason the banks don't hand count their bills. There's a reason that your CPA doesn't hand do your return anymore. It's inaccurate. And I don't, for the life of me, they've got a hold of this and they're trying to say that everything, it will be days before we get results from elections and they will be more inaccurate. Is that what really we're wanting to do? If you don't believe that, come in. We have to audit a precinct every time. Sometimes we have to do it 3 or 4 times by manually counting when there's hundreds of ballots and everybody has to come out with the exact, and that's what we'd have to do for all the precincts. But that's the type of thing. It sounds good up there. Yeah, the reason we're losing elections is because the computers are counting wrong, and if we hand count them, it just doesn't make sense. But that's just some of the, Matt puts those on their site saying those things that are concerned.
And so does NACO. NACO's another one we could also do that.
So we don't have any hanging chads.
Right.
Okay.
Are you two reports? Yeah.
No,
No, go ahead.
Well, we have, as of yesterday, 4 people that have voted so far after 2 weeks. So Jay and his wife are still half the And Bob, they're right there, are half of our votes in the county. And,
If I was on the ballot, there's 2 votes I missed right there.
but it does bring up the disproportional amount of absentee and permanently disabled votes that we have been taking in. And they may make up over 20% of the votes, people that are homebound, average age, or way
And
way
that will
above
sway
the
an election.
temperature. It will, people, that, I'm a little concerned about the issue you put on the ballot, because those have a very disproportional amount of vote no on everything. And, so,
Yeah.
my point is, we may make an effort the next month to get out, if you would like this, issue about the tax, so that they would pay, you know, like smokers pay tax on their cigarettes, that pot smokers would be paying tax to promote that to the chambers and to make them aware that some people would actually go out and vote and help get that passed, because it's gonna be probably 20% that are disabled voters, or nothing wrong with disabled voters, but they tend to track a lot more conservative and negative as far as tax votes.
Okay. Any other departmental reports? Dan?
Just mention the siren, you heard a while ago was a test city of Farmington's running. They've been having a problem with their emergency alert siren, and it is fixed now.
Okay. And I think we will put on the next week's agenda about the siren purchase, potential siren purchase for emergency management.
And next week's will be an hour earlier if you are comatose between Sunday morning and Tuesday with the spring out.
But now Road and Bridge is not changing to 410s.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It'll be about the 2nd or 3rd week of April.
The typically general guideline on that is shift at time change.
That's correct.
But this time it's still dark and they want all daylight hours.
Right. So it'll be 2nd or 3rd week of April.
Okay. All right.
There's your legislation you need right there.
Concentrate on that.
Yeah,
I like daylight savings. I'd vote against you.
Cancel each other out.
Okay. Okay, any other departmental reports? Well, Parks is on here again, and now we're down to the 4.64%.
Yeah.
Compared to the 2 double-digit
Back to
reports.
reality.
Good number.
And you'll see back March 2 years ago, this kind of compares.
I think
But,
again, as long as we're hovering around that 5%.
It's all green,
Yeah.
and it's compounded interest, because the way that's figured is, last year was a good year and good March, and this year's even better, so it's not like we got some baseline we're comparing that to. And about the same trend on the use tax. Now, it's still a sales tax. It dropped to 100,000 for the month of March, which is more comparable to the January. But we don't know if we're starting to see the trend or not yet. So
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait the whole year. I mean, I think we're gonna be down. Now we're getting into past the Christmas shopping, all the online shopping
Yeah.
there.
And this
but
is
I
online
think
typically.
if we're hitting, even if we're hitting 100,000 every month, we're gonna hit our goal. I mean, that's the big thing. And why we need a whole year, because some business pay quarterly, some pay monthly, some pay annually, so it's just gonna be hard to gauge for a little while.
We're
But
still in good shape, though. If you remember, we budgeted conservatively on a $700,000 increase if it came in, and we're running well above
You're over half that now.
I still think it's a positive.
Well, that's for two months of that last year. Okay.
$28 that puts it on the top.
Yeah, there you go. Any other departmental reports? Okay.
Carol, I was gonna
Yes.
mention about, so a couple weeks ago I presented with so we have a safe deposit box with First State Community
Yes.
Bank.
And Linda, we want this on the minutes too.
Have this on the minutes. I don't think anybody knows what's in it. It's gonna be kind of a mystery. Hopefully it's something pretty cool, you know.
Get Geraldo?
As Dave asked, is it like the movies where there's gonna be some fake passports, some diamonds, and some precious, you know.
I just want to turn the dial to the vault, and I want to watch somebody open the box. It's gotta be diamonds, right?
So we got that approved. And it was my mistake there. I thought that was in our depository agreement with the bank. It was not after reviewing. So I proposed it at zero cost. It is a $30 fee. We are going to we have to do our bids this year under our depository agreement anyway, so I'm putting it in the bid for this year, so it should be waived here on after. We've not paid for it in years past. I'm not sure if they just waived it before, but we are
They have a $30 charge on it this year. So I guess to get reapproval on this, to pay $30 this year for a safe deposit box. I don't know if it's really needed, but I think it's a good thing to have just in case there are, something the county needs to have stored in a different, separate place for fireproof and everything else.
Would you like me to put that on the agenda for next week, so that you get officially approved for that this week?
$30.
Don't think we can officially approve.
We can't act on it now.
Act on it.
Yeah.
Would you like me to put on the agenda
Sure,
next
that's
week
fine.
to
Yeah.
officially
Okay.
act on it?
We could bid on it.
If there's any money, it's probably Confederate. Anyway. Okay, any other departmental reports?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
And I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.